the Hindu approach to ecology, I would like to shed some light on how the Hindu or Vedic Dharma views nature and our place in it. And I'm going to use Hindu and Vedic interchangeably because Vedas are the foundational scriptures for Hinduism, so it's called Vedic Dharma. And Dharma is religion, so I'm going to use that interchangeably also. And in, I think, later slides, if I use the word sin, I basically just mean it's something which takes you away from realizing your divine nature, because for a Hindu, the main purpose of life is to realize their divine nature. So it's nothing related to the connotation the word has gotten now. So before I go into the ecology and everything, I'm gonna talk about how we view the nature, because I think it's how you view something or someone is what dictates your actions. So according to Vedas, there's no separation between the divine and the world of nature. There are two aspects of the same reality. The material or inert nature is called Jagat, and the consciousness Jiva, but it's the same reality. There's a saying in, this saying is from Vedas, it says, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, which means that there is, in Hinduism we say there's not one God, but there is only God, since everything is manifestation of God itself. So essence of everything which is manifest in the universe is God, so everything is God. The word God and soul are inherent aspects of the same eternal reality, which Upanishads or the end part of the Vedas call Brahm or Brahman. We also hear the term Yatha Pinda Tatha Brahmanda, which means that our body is the microcosm and the world is the macrocosm, and they'll all come together in my later slides. I'm just introducing the concepts. So this is how we view the nature. Basically, it's a vision of unity. The Vedic vision of unity is the basis for an ecological approach in which we can honor the entire universe as part of our own higher self. We need not protect the nature as we would an inferior creature, nor do we have to conquer nature as our enemy. But we need to honor nature as as our greatest self itself. So now I'm going to talk about how to do that, how to honor nature, and what is the way we need to act in order to foster that view I represented earlier. And this says that Karma Yoga is basically the way, and we also, in Hinduism, they also say that your deeds are three kinds, and the sattvic karma are the ones where a lot of people, most people are benefited, even though you may not be, but it's for the benefit of everyone, your environment, you. And then there are karmas where you are benefited and some other people are benefited too, or some other beings. And then there are other karmas where nobody's benefited, so they say that the way to go is stop doing the third one, limit the second one, and do as much of the first one. So everyone around you is benefited, the nature, and when they say everyone around you, they include the environment, the nature, and everything. So that's pretty much the Karma Yoga. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks about in chapter 3, 7, and briefly in chapter 8, Krishna talks about how world is supported by cycle of sacrifice or yajna, which was set in motion at dawn of creation. And like the first two speakers talked, it sounded so familiar. They said, it's a wheel or it's a cycle, and we are a link in the cycle, and we need to fulfill our duty. So what is the yajna way of life, or and sacrificial way of life? What it is that it talks about the cycle, the cyclical nature of the world, and then it also says that human beings are an important link in the wheel or cycle of yajna, and they must be aware of their responsibility. One must follow yajna way of life through which harmony and balance is manifested within the creation. Krishna goes on to say that one who doesn't follow this cycle of yajna set themselves away from spiritual reality. And the example, I keep talking about yajna way of life, and it's like, what is it? And we can find the examples of that all throughout nature. And actually those examples, Krishna does talk about them in Gita too. He says, like, if you look at sun is giving sunlight, the life-giving prana or energy to the whole world without expecting anything in return, is for the well-being of everyone. The rivers flow not for themselves, but for the well-being of everyone. And the wind is moving not for itself, but for everyone's well-being. So, and the rain, the clouds give the rain not for themselves, but for our benefit. And he even says that this body we inhabit is made of food, and there's so many, there's like all this stuff working together to nourish you. So if you don't give back, that's a sinful way of living. And then again, I'm using the word sin, but sin means it just takes you away from your own divine nature. So that's what, in the yajna way of, the cycle of yajna, we are an important link, and we also have a choice. We are the only ones with the free will to complete that cycle or to not complete it. So it's a we need to realize our responsibility. We need to be aware of our place in that wheel, where we do our part. There are at least 3 benefits of living this way, giving way our, when sacrifice basically just means that, you're not making decisions in a self-centered way, you're thinking of everyone around you. So the benefits of living that way are that, we see material and spiritual progress. We progress spiritually and materially. It also reminds us to show gratitude by acknowledging the Lord's gifts, because you're always remembering like how everyone is giving. All the aspects of nature are giving us, is fulfilling our needs. So, you're thankful for that. And it also maintains harmony in the world for our long-term well-being, like the first speaker was saying, if you keep doing that, we'll see the result of that misuse and overuse of the resources. And then finally, I would like to say that the world also rests on a balance of give and take. And if we disturb this delicate balance by not doing our part, it will affect us on a personal level, and eventually it affects the world. And that's when I was saying that your body is a microcosm and the world is macrocosm. Initially we'll feel it, and then it'll trickle down to everything. And we're already seeing that. Krishna also goes on to say that one who doesn't give back to the world and nature, which provides for all necessities, disrespects all creation and is stealing, and is also considered to be stealing the resources of nature. And he's under the delusion that he's an independent being. So thinking that we are independent and everything is made for our use is a delusion, because we depend on nature for every need. I was listening to one of the talks, and the speaker was giving an example that, whenever someone asks, which way should the population of trees go? We always say, well, plant more trees, right? We always say we should have more trees, more plants. And if we ask a question, what about the population of human beings? It's always the opposite answer. So thinking that we are superior, beings in the creation, I don't know, I don't believe it. If we are so good, then why it's when the talk comes about trees and plants, we are always talking about increasing the number of trees, and when it comes to human beings, we say the population is too much already. So I would like to end my talk there, and thank you very much for coming and listening to all of us.